welcome. We are live with coverage of today's daily $50 tournament, free to play on CoonBattles.com. Coon Battles Discord. Join us. We're going to be following Zach.btc through the event and doing some coverage of this tournament. He has the Serpentide and the Cactalord out. With coverage of today's daily 50. And he is facing off against an Inferno and a Gua S. The Inferno comes down with that Inferno ability and does remove 2 champions from Zach's battlefield. But the Serpentide stays. For the life totals, we're looking at 24 for Zach and 33 for Cope. Cope, one of our commentators as well for tournament coverage, so well versed in battles. Zach follows up with his own Inferno, an Inferno bot. This is a ranked NFT match, so you do have to own these cards. Follows that up with a Pandora Bowl, bringing life back to the Inferno bot, because it does damage itself, and then he follows that up with an attack with Serpentide, and then the Pegasol, ignoring the Tretier, even though he's at 24, so that is a risky move. Of course, Zach's board looks way stronger than Cope's at the moment. However, this game can turn on a dime, so it is always a calculated risk when you're ignoring your opponent's creatures and just attacking them to their face. But we'll see if this pays off for Zach. Thank you very much for tuning in to the Coon Battles Daily $50 Tournament. My name is Brett Banffy, and I'm your host today. Cope taking some time to think about this. You can see that Cope has 10 cards in his graveyard, and Zach has 8. So if Cope is somehow manages to have a big turn here and maybe kill 2 champions, looks like Cope ignores champions, lays a Cactalord, drops a Hydrofang. Hydrofang has that ability Vortex, and the Vortex immediately deals 3 damage to Zach. So the Cactalord, of course, with that Provoke ability, becomes a very valuable defender, but on most boards, but on this board, not quite, because with 7 HP, the Cactalord is bigger than most champions, but some of the strongest champions that exist are on Zach's board right now. Of course, we're seeing the attack with Pegasol taking care of that Cactalord. Now, the remaining creatures with no Provoke on the battlefield are free to attack Cope directly to his face. Zach is considering using Flamey. Flamey will not get the Tretier with that guard ability. The Tretier laughs in the face of the Inferno abilities and actually all abilities. Guard has a unique ability which prevents, and there we see Zach lay his own guard card, Grimblade. Guard cannot be used as the target of Whirlwind or Inferno or Blizzard, so it pretty much just sits out there and says, if you want me gone, you got to attack me. Follows up with an attack with the Inferno bot, and now Cope down to 3 cards in his hand. He does have the Uga Chief, which is probably his best card, or one of the best cards in the game at the moment, but at 17 life, that Uga Chief only able to deal 8. It can attack this turn, unlike the Grimblade, which you see with the Z's coming out. That Grimblade must wait a turn, but the Glaciador comes down, and now he freezes the Pegasol. Okay, so Cope is live, because let's see, 13. No, he's not actually. The Grimblade was able to deal the damage. So the Grimblade's guard ability, you could see that Blizzard creature, that Glaciador, not able to freeze the Grimblade because of that guard ability. You can learn about the abilities at the CoonBattles.com website. And if you want to play, it is free to play this game. So come on over to CoonBattles.com/app, or just join the website at CoonBattles.com and follow the links to play the game. It is free to play, and also you can buy the cards and play with the cards. So There are three ways to connect your wallet. There is the hand cash, the Ordinals wallet, and the Xverse wallet currently. The game developers have committed to adding more wallets and adding cross-chain functionality in the future. So if you have a wallet, a preferred wallet that can support Ordinals or tokenized assets, if it's not on Ordinals using some other type of chain, make sure that you are sending out a message to the Coon Battles team, letting them know about your preferred wallet, and I'm sure that they will work to get some of these cards up onto that platform. And once they are on that platform, just like they're on Handcash right now, you can purchase them on the Handcash marketplace. You can then take your earned or your owned assets into the game. And as you can see, you can play either free play mode here in the middle. You can play against the bot if you just want to practice and you want to learn the mechanics of the game. The bot is a great way to do that. And then finally, we have our cutthroat version of the game, which is this ranked play. That is where we're playing today for our free daily $50 tournament. And how it works is you join the community gaming platform. All the information is in our tournaments channel in the Discord, discord.gg/Coon Battles. Go on and join. My name is Manifestival in that channel, so you can send me a message. Let me know you're a new player. Let me know you'd like to learn how to play. We give some cards out sometimes to new players, especially if you've heard about our game on our streams. We want to be very welcoming to new players. We're first learning about this game, but it functions very similarly to other trading card games like a Pokemon, a Yu-Gi-Oh, Flesh and Blood, or a Magic. And the only difference is that our game utilizes the powers and the technology of blockchain to have immediate and instant distribution of our cards, and for very, very, very cheap prices. So the team recently announced an upcoming mint. This, I believe, will be their alpha mint. The previous cards were what I would consider to be a pre-alpha, with only 40,000 cards in existence currently. The first real official alpha mint of the cards will be a million cards. It'll be using hand cash, and that's going to launch on September 21st. So make sure you grab yourself a hand cash by then, top up your wallet. There will also be credit card purchasing features available. And get ready, because the cards, as I understand, will be $1 a piece. And there are a range of cards from common to rare to mythic. The mythics obviously are the most valuable cards, but the commons are not valueless, I should say, because we do host a variety of events. Some of those events are commons only. That would be what we would call a pauper format, singleton, and all different types of events we're trying out here. I'm one of the leaders of the organized play efforts that Coon Battles is undertaking. So if you have a suggestion for a format you'd like to see us try, let me know. My name is Brett Banfi, Manifestival, and I'm your host today. Thank you for being with us on this Friday. We're following tournament coverage of one of our Discord community members, Zach.btc, down there on the bottom of the screen, and we are seeing him in Game 2 against his Round 1 opponent, Cope. Many of you know old Craig Cope from Twitch. Runs his own podcast and is just a delight of a human being. All right, we see an initial Monk from Cope, followed by a Hydrofang with the Vortex ability, drains Cope for 3, and then Cope attacks with that Monk. The Monk has now attacked twice because the Monk does have the Rush ability, unlike that Cactusaur with the Z's coming out of his side of his head there. He must wait a turn. However, the Monk with the Rush ability can attack immediately. You see Lumi blessing itself, so that is a boost of 3 to its attack. The Leafy with the Life Bloom ability is able to increase the HP of the Hydrofang from 4 to 7, to 8, and then the Hydrofang able to attack that Cactosaurus for lethal. The Cactosaurus then goes to the graveyard, as you can see on the left-hand side. Now Cope is taking his turn, and I believe this is turn 3 because Zach played Lumi and Leafy. Lumi is the 2 mana. One of the best 2 mana cards. Hydrofang also a very good 2 mana card. Now, maybe, oh, this is turn 4. Excuse me. So just an Uga and followed up with an attack from both, dropping Zach's life total by 10. The Uga here on the right-hand side in our view, we can see has 6 power, that's the number on the top left, and 6 HP, that's the number on the top right, where the shield is. Likewise, that monk right there to the left of the Uga is 4 attack, 4 HP. Now we see the Glaciador come down. It looks like it has the Blizzard ability, has frozen the Uga. Now the Hydrofang, which previously killed the Cactosaur, takes out the monk, so anytime you can use one of your cards to take out 2 of an opponent's, that is a win in my book, especially once the Glaciador having frozen that Uga. And we're beginning to see Zach, who we see in the bottom of the screen, move into the driver's seat. Zach did win game 1. They may be on game 3. We jumped in with our coverage last game, so I don't know if they are on game 2 or game 3. I'm gonna guess game 2. Okay, Tredier comes down now. Tredier with that guard ability, just like last time, cannot be the target of a Blizzard or a Whirlwind, but can be the target of friendly abilities like the Lumi, which just blessed it up. And unfortunately, it's out of the range of that Glaciador. Remember, the Uga is frozen from last turn with Glaciador's Blizzard ability. That little penguin on the bottom was able to freeze Uga for 2 turns. Looks like the regular Lumi is going to just attack. I was going to say, that was a surprise to me because it was almost looking like he was going to go for that Lumi, but chose not to. Chose the, what I think is the more strategic play there. We see the Gua S. The Gua S just is exactly like a Lumi. It is a 4/4 with the blast ability, just like Lumi. However, Lumi as a 2 mana creature, Gua S as a 3 mana creature. So you are spending that 1 extra mana to get it, and in this game of mana efficiency, that's so important. Fondra comes down, that is a 3 mana. And it looks like Zach with the last 2 remaining mana, not able to do anything. But that Fondra is able to blast the Leafy, goes from a 1/2, the attack buffed on the left there, where the green 4 is showing. So that creates a much stronger attacker now with that little elephant. One of the things about this game, some of these cards are so cute. Look at that little deer. I mean, how could you feel sad or bad about losing to that little cute deer or this little cute elephant? On Cope's side, we see a Gua S come down, as well as his own Hydrofang. The Gua S blesses the Ponk. Now this, I think, is the second turn that Uga is still frozen from that Glaciador. So this is the last turn that the Uga will not be able to attack. The Ponk, which was blessed by Gua S, takes out, I believe, the Leafy. So that was a good play. Both users sort of stalling here in the middle game. No one really able to take the advantage. You see that Cope is ahead on life by 6, but life at this phase of the game is not as important. If you see on the bottom, Zach has 7 cards in hand to Cope's 3. Zach has 2 on the battlefield to Cope's 3. So while Cope is winning on the battlefield, the important one of cards in hand favoring Zach. Zach drops the Grun. That is one of the green egg that, according to many players, this egg cult that does not exist. The egg able to hatch out an Uga Chief, one of the most powerful cards in the game. Eagle-On comes down with that Whirlwind ability, returns the Uga to to Cope's hand because, yes, this turn it was going to be able to be unfrozen and attack, and then gets in for a spicy, I believe, 14 damage, dropping Cope from 45. Excuse me, I believe it was 18 damage, from 45 down to 27. And Eaglon, of course, removing that Uga. Eaglon with 2/2 with Whirlwind. And Whirlwind, a very powerful ability because it returns an opposing champion to its owner's hand. And we see the Hydrofang attack and take out, I believe, an egg. That is followed up by an Inferno. So the egg sometimes can absorb that Inferno damage, and you want to get rid of that egg. That's why we saw the Hydrofang take it out. We do see the Uga Chief is off the battlefield, and just like that, this turn of events where Zach was able to capitalize with a very strong turn last turn, but Cope returning with, you would almost say, just as if not more powerful of a turn. But look at those cards in Zach's hand. He is not messing around. He sees Grimblade and Serpentide. Keep in mind, this is a singleton format, so users can only play with one of each card. Even if they own multiple Serpentides, they can only play one in this event. Andra comes down. Serpentide with the Vortex ability drains Cope for 3 immediately, and now this is the pivotal turn. We know that Grimblade and Tretier, but 2 very powerful cards, are in Zach's hand. However, Cope with 4 cards in hand. He does have that Eaglon. It looks like at the very worst that Eaglon can take out the Ponk, who we're looking at on Zach's board on the right-hand side. If he is somehow able to diffuse the threat of that Serpentide, follow up with ideally 2 threats of his own that would match the 2 threats that are in Zach's hand, and then you're just looking at maybe a race. The Uga is close, but it's not quite good enough. He may need to take that turn off. Oh, and then he gets the Inferno. So this was a good way to do it. It unfortunately does require that he lose his own. I believe it was the Eaglon that was lost, but the Eaglon taking out the Serpentide and following up with an Inferno. Arctopole with Rush able to attack and remove that Uga. But now again, you're seeing that Cope has managed to stabilize on this board. We know that Tretier is still in Zach's hand, but Cope now, Ignatius, wow. And this is an NFT match that we're watching. So we're used to seeing Ignatius come down when in replay mode, where users are able to play with any cards, but Cope actually owns that Ignatius, and that is a very expensive card. But unfortunately, the Ignatius does not do any damage to that guard, the guard cards that Zach is playing with, and we see the Uga Chief take down the Grimblade, but followed up by the Tretier, the Pandorable, and finally a Pegasi. The Pegasi able to get in for a sneaky 5 damage, but I think Zach is out of cards now. Cope has 3, but Cope at 10. And Zach, I've played against Zach, and this is no one to mess with. You do not want to be in such a precarious position. The Mechadrone able to get rid of that Pegasi for 1 turn, but of course with Rush ability it can come right back down and attack. The Mechadrone will be able to beat it in combat on the counter attack. Here we see a Flammy, so the Flammy can take care of Pegasi, of course, but it doesn't get rid of Mechadrone. So what we're likely to see is a Pegasi attack Cope for 5, bringing your life total to 5. Flammy wipe out the Pegasi, deal 2 to the Mechadrone. Now the Mechadrone will be able to kill the Pegasi in the return of combat. What you'd love to see here from Cope is some sort of giant provoke creature, and in an ideal world, you want to life bloom it, and then you want to fade the whirlwinds. Or the Icy Quine is a next best option. Provoke better because provoke can handle future rush cards. Rabbitron comes down, so that is a guard ability, not a provoke, but Zach with his own provoke card, fortunately not a rush creature, and now the Icy Quine froze the Pegasi last turn. It will be frozen again on Zach's next turn. So all Cope has to do is deal with this Cactalord here. But at 39, Zach is in the driver's seat for this match. Zach, Cope taking his time to think. These are very tense moments. And we saw there the Icy Quine taking out. Oh, and the Rogalt, it does have the rush ability. That looks like that is game for Zach, and these are best of 3, so very likely that does move Zach to the next round. And we have some results from some of our other matchups. We do see that Rauman beat Colt 45 2-0, so Rauman moves on. Let's see if we can check in for where we are for the rest of the bracket. A huge shout out to Zach BTC, one of the absolute all-stars of our Discord community. He's also, if you have a moment, if you're on Twitter and you want to just check out his page, he's doing an in-depth breakdown of all 151 champions, including the ones that he just used to kill his round 1 opponent. Cope, one of the OG Egg Cult community members that technically doesn't exist. All right, we are looking at the results here. We did see that Eric Brodnick advanced to round 2, Haruki advanced to round 2, Deacon Z advanced to round 2, and now we know from the result that we just watched that it will be Zach that's advancing, and Zach will be competing against Deacon Z. Deacon Z is a longtime community manager in Web3 gaming, and so has come with a lot of expertise, a lot of skills, not just in the gaming component itself, but also how to grow and build a community from scratch. He's absolutely fallen in love with Coon Battles and has been really helpful to developing, a go-to-market strategy for how the game will advance and progress. I want to thank Zach.btc for streaming. We will have a slight break in coverage while we are organizing that second round. And the nice part about our tournament format here, again, these are $50 free to enter daily tournaments, $50 to first place. Today we had, I believe, 17 or 18 participants in our bracket coverage. So it's a thick field, but it's not unnavigatable. You have a good shot, especially if you come in to our Discord. Reach out to me. My name is Manifestable. Let me know that you want to get started playing this game. Want to learn how the mechanics, how the game works. We can do some tutorials with you. We are streaming live on Twitch, on YouTube, and on X.com right now. And we are streaming Coon Battles coverage, the daily $50 tournaments. These will be going every single day for the rest of time. There will not be a break. It will be a $50 tournament in perpetuity for as long as time exists, which we hope will be a significant time. We all want to see time last long. All right. Looks like we've got our second round opponent. We know it's going to be Deacon Z because we're following the bracket coverage. And let's check in if there's any other results from round 1 that we're seeing. Fukuchi and Riz are still in round 1. It looks like Blends and Fiddlesticks still in round 1, and also Commander Chief against K1 in round 1. But we did see Raumund advance, and Raumund beat Colt 45. Colt 45, his first time to one of our events. Oh, and we also saw, the bracket just followed up. We saw Haruki advance and Commander Chief, who defeated K1. K1 was one of the Pauper finalists in our event last week, on Thursday of last week. That was another $50 it was a Pauper event. So Pauper enables our participants to build their decks with using only commons, which is really fun because, the mythics, of course, they're the harder ones to find. And the commons, you can even go to the marketplace, the hand cash marketplace today, and buy a handful of commons for very reasonable prices. So in addition to this upcoming mint, there will be another mint, a million card mint, with the Million Alpha coming out on September 21st. So there will be plenty of time to open up all the commons you can imagine during that live event. But if you don't want to wait until the 21st and you want to just load up on some commons right now to play in our Pauper events, you can head over to the hand cash marketplace. And it's very easy to get yourself a hand cash account if you don't already have one. It's handcash.io. And again, my name is Manifestable. Very easy to contact on both x.com and on Discord. So discord.gg/Coon Battles. That's the Discord for this game that we are watching. And we see, Haruki versus Commander Chief, Brodnik versus Raumund. Fukuchi advances over Riz 2-0. And now we're going to follow the tournament coverage for Zach, who is playing Deacon Z. I want to thank you all for tuning in. I'm your host. I'm Manifestable. We are live on and on X. We'll be giving you this coverage a couple times a week. I don't know if we'll do coverage of every single free to enter $50 daily tournament, but we'll make our best effort to provide you some coverage so you can at least see what's going on, who's advancing in these tournament brackets, what decks, what strategies are they playing. While I have a second, I will pull up Zach's deck list just so I can give you an insight into what these players are bringing to the battlefield. So we do see three Inferno cards at least. We see the Scorchwing, the Flammy, and the Inferno Bot. The Inferno Bot is one more mana than some of those Chase Inferno cards, like the Dracoferno, which we saw from Zach's last round opponent. Cope had a Dracoferno. And of course, the Flamigwakan is the ultimate Chase Inferno card, assuming that, Ignatius is obviously the best, but that's an angel, and I don't expect anyone to to be able to get their hands on that card. It's only 4 in existence, but Inferno is a nice consolation prize. Right, we see Deacon dropping the Pandorable, Zach passing on turn 1, must not have an egg, and then we follow up with a Nordy. So Nordy has that provoke ability, must be attacked before Deacon can be attacked himself. Hydrofang for 2 mana from Zach, and it does not require attack to deal damage because of its vortex, so it deals 3 directly to Deacon. That's why we saw Deacon's life total move to 57. Thank you again for tuning in. This is round 2, game 1, Zach against Deacon Z. I'll be with you through the remainder of the event. My name is Brett, and I am your host. Deacon on the top of the screen. He does drop a Fury. We see Pandorable attack and Nordy attack. So sometimes that Fury, it's difficult to decide on. That's why we saw a little pause from Deacon there, because of course when you play it again, you do have the ability to use that Vortex again, which creates the 3 damage directly to Deacon. But this game, it's very much about mana efficiency. And we see that Deacon willing to sacrifice that. It does set Zach back a turn, which can be very helpful. He redeploys the Hydro Fang on his turn 3, but you see that he has no other way, as far as I can tell, to spend that last mana. So that is... And on Deacon's turn, we're going to see him have 4 mana. This will be Deacon going first, it looks like. So he'll be the first to hit that pivotal point of 4 mana where we see the very powerful cards like Uga, Pegasi, Glaciador, and Icy Quine. Especially in this singleton format, these are really strong 4 mana cards. And this one turn where Zach, taking his time, maybe forgot that he did not end his turn, because it looks like his time is moving all the way down. Now it's Deacon's turn at 4 mana. Nordy in the middle of the battlefield there has the boxing gloves on and is the demon shark. Nordy has the ability to provoke, but Zach's cards do not have provoke, which means that the provoke forces an attack on a champion as opposed to a player. But because Zach has no provoke on the battlefield, all of these creatures that Deacon has in play will be able to attack Zach this turn directly. They don't have to. If they decide they would like to attack the Hydro Fang, they have that option. But I don't expect that. I expect an attack directly to Zach's face. It will be for 7, at least 7. Fury 3 on the left, Nordy 3. We do see the Nordy, the Pandorable, the Fury all attack for 7, and like I predicted, we have that Icy Quine come down on 4 mana, freeze that Hydro Fang. Now it will be frozen for 2 turns, so that Hydro Fang cannot attack for 2 turns. The Eaglon comes down, returns the Nordy, but Nordy only at 1 mana, so not such a scary Eaglon. However, the Cactalord, much more scary. It does come in off of that green egg there. Supposedly that egg colt does not exist. But yet, even though that egg colt does not exist, we do see the Grun freely hatch a Cactalord. The card that it hatches must be in your hand, and it must share a type. Of course, Grun is the nature egg, so you get a free nature card. It is a random card. However, if you only have 1 nature card in your hand, of course, you know what that will hatch into. And unfortunately for Deacon Z, it is the very mean, very menacing Cactalord. Above the Cactalord's snarl, you can see 2 numbers, the 7 and then another 7. The 7 on the left, of course, the sword next to it, indicating that it is an attack value. On the right, you see that that number is indicating a health or HP value. Eaglon of his own from Deacon Z, returning the Cactalord, so that's a novel way to deal with it. The Grun hatches it for free, but of course, the Eaglon wants to return it to the hand to be respent for its traditional mana value cost. But only an Eaglon on turn 5 and a failure to attack. So I think that may have been a mistake from Deacon Z, unless I somehow missed an attack in there. That could easily have happened, but we see that Deacon has 5, 3, 9 power on the battlefield, freely able to attack. As far as I could see, he did not elect to take that attack. And as a result, with a very strong Eaglon returning the Cactalord, but unfortunately, you have almost missed an opportunity to sneak 9 damage in there. We'll see if that comes back to be a problem. And again, also a failure to attack from the Hydro Fang. I'm not sure why. Maybe there's something I'm not seeing here, because that Hydro Fang easily can attack Deacon Z. Perhaps Zach feeling cheeky and wants to return the forgetting to attack, as a gamesmanship or as an effort of sportsmanship, to say, okay, you forgot to attack, and I will return the favor and forget to attack you. Sometimes these players are communicating on a side channel as well, so Zach is notably a very fair and a player with tremendous sportsmanship. So although we are playing for $50 here, and we are in round 2, so I wouldn't be surprised if that was an effort of sportsmanship from Zach. And we see there the attacks begin, and I'm sure that you will see them return after that little hiccup. But again, this is a game that is all about mana efficiency. So when you miss that chance or that turn to do something pivotal, the Pegasi comes down with the rush ability. Now we're going to see an attack on the Hydro Fang. This I can almost guarantee it. The Pegasi, importantly, at that 6 health value, as you can see, and then the redeployed Nordy. So again, that Eagle-On came down, bounced the Nordy back to Deacon's hand, but of course, at only 1 mana, it's not hard to redeploy that. And actually, Deacon has 2 provoke creatures. But look at Zach's hand. Zach has 8 cards in the hand right now. So Deacon has 3. So a menacing board for Deacon Z. But sometimes you want your opponent to deploy all of their cards first, so you can decide how best to attack them. Unfortunately, provoke will force your hand a little bit, because you cannot just choose the most profitable attacks for yourself. You must focus on that shark with the boxing gloves, the lava gloves, and that Cactosaurus, which looks like kind of like a okay, the Mechafly returns the Cactosaurus, and then Fondra, we're seeing the Bless ability turning it to a 3/1. The egg does have to trade, but that was a good turn. Now that Cactosaurus can come back down, Zach down to 6 in hand. We see Deacon with 5 in hand. That Pandorable not quite able to tangle with anything profitably. The Pegasol can trade with the Mechafly, but he's not able to eat it. And we see the Fury as a 3/3 able to trade with that Fondra. Now, this is the pre-alpha, the first edition set of Champions of Otherworldly Magic. There is these abilities Life Bloom. So this is where the Life Bloom abilities, if you could Life Bloom a Pegasi up, instead of being at 1 HP, bring it back to 5, and then you would be able to freely attack the Mechafly. There you see it, and the L-Leaf, exactly on time, returns that Pegasi's HP back up to 5, and now you're going to see a difficult decision. I don't think it's too difficult. I would have definitely chosen the Mechafly. I understand a little bit why you would maybe choose that Fondra. Now it does preserve 1 health for your Pegasi, but it's not clear that you can. So the reason why he did that was because he's hoping that the Cactosaurus will be able to eat the Mechafly as a 5/5. But we've seen Zach is a very crafty player. Zach does play a Lumi for 2 mana, leaving him 5 mana this turn. So we are on turn 7. If you can see on the bottom right that those blue dots indicate how much mana is left. So 2 has been spent, and now 5 is left. And when you see him looking at that Pegasi, that blue number in the top right of the card shows a 4. That shows how much mana will be required to play that card. Mechafly attacking the Cactusaurus and trading. And we see the Pegasi attacking back to the opposing Mechafly, the opposing Pegasi and trading. And now this Pandorable can trade with the Pegasi. We're still in this mucky kind of early part of the game where, you can't turn the jets on and just try to kill your opponent. You really have to think about where will the crackbacks come from. Frosthog coming from Deacon Z to trade with that Pegasi. But again, anytime it takes you 2 cards to deal with one of your opponents, this is not where you want to be. And we're probably going to see the Elif attack Zach in the face. Oh no, we see a Glaciador come down, freezing the Lumi, and then an attack from Elif. Elif has that powerful 6 HP, but only 2 attacks, so that is not the strongest attack. However, anytime you can get damage in, this is always advisable. All right, we see Deacon with 2 cards in hand and Zach with 6. So Zach at 34, if he can somehow... Remember, the Lumi is frozen for 2 turns, so effectively Zach has no champions on the board. But with 6 cards in hand, an Uga, or it looks like he has an Inferno Bot, that could be very good. Although Inferno Bot, notably dealing 5 to opposing creatures, the Elif will be out of range of that, and so will the Pandorable. The Gua S coming down and blessing itself. The Glaciador, I believe, froze the opposing Glaciador. See a pink egg when you have no light champions or matching elements from your eggs, which supposedly there is no egg cult, so I'm just clarifying that for our viewers. Then you do draw a card, so that egg was not able to hatch a champion, but still very valuable because it returns a card, and it also has the unique ability of soaking up some potential Inferno damage. So an Inferno that would come down where it previously would have taken out one of these stronger champions, the Lumi or the Gua S. Instead, you would see it take out this lowly egg. Glaciador is frozen, so we're looking at the Elif, the Verfury, and the Pandorable as currently as the potential attackers, and then of course that Grun can attack, but for the moment does no damage. All right. Right. Yeah, again, my name is Brett. I'm your host. I want to thank you for tuning in to us on your Friday. These daily $50 events, they are free to enter. They will fire every single day. I believe we had 18 or 17 or 18 people sign up for the events. Eventually, if we start to get 150 signups, etc., we may run more than just one event, one $50 event. We may start to run multiples just to make sure that we're giving everyone a fair chance to play and earn from Coon Battles. Coon Battles is a free-to-play game, so go on over to your browser, type in coonbattles.com, click play now, and yeah, you can get started. You can enter these events, and you can reach out to me in the Discord if you have any questions. If you want to learn how the mechanics work, I'm happy to work you through that. This game is very fun. From the moment you play, you will not stop playing, so make sure that you are prepared for that. From the game action, we do see an Icyquine played and a Grimblade played. That Lumia, I believe, was frozen on that turn, but will be okay to attack next turn. It's important for players to remember when their opposing champions unfreeze, because it's very easy to forget. When you freeze them, you just think, okay, I never have to deal with that one again. And then 3 turns later, it starts attacking you again. Mechadrone came down, and Zach looking at that Inferno Bot. Elif getting an attack in. I believe that attack was to the opposing Glaciador, but I didn't didn't see it fully there. Okay, so we're seeing the Fury attacking that unfrozen Lumi, and it is likely to be and maybe there is an Inferno of his own. If he can get rid of that Ponk and play an Inferno card. Oh no, it was even better. It was an Earthquake. Earthquake dealing 2 damage to both players, but also dealing 2 damage to all creatures without the air elemental type. And we see that his own Mechadron, of course, fades that as an air type. And Mudrex comes down and is a provoke creature. So we're seeing still a gummy board, but Zach with 5 cards in hand and Deacon empty-handed. We call that Hellbent. Deacon is Hellbent at 0 cards in hand. The Cactalord comes back down, of course, was returned with the Mechadron, but we see a Monk played onto the battlefield. Monk, of course, was the tournament-winning prize for the inaugural $500 Invitational that we began our tournament series with, and that event was won by. It seems Zach is forgetting that Mudrex has Provoke, so he is curious as to why he cannot attack the Glaciador. He needs to remember that the Provoke exists on that Mudrex, and that's very easy to forget some of those key things. That Mechadron now is able to trade with the Grimblade or the Monk, but of course I think it would be likely. But of course, actually, I'm sorry, it can't, because the Cactalord with the Provoke ability will prevent an attack on his Grimblade. So we're seeing a plotting strategy from Zach, but just grinding his opponent down. The Mechadron actually choosing or electing not to attack the Cactalord altogether. I disagree with that decision, but I understand it. The Gua S coming down, blessing that Cactalord, and then we see a monster attack with a Serpentide. So not only does he send a heavy onslaught of attackers in on Deacon Z, but also we see this Serpentide come down and drain for 3 using that Vortex ability. And followed up with another Gua S. So the Inferno comes down, but that is just too little too late. And Zach, I'm starting to sense that this game has started to turn around in his favor. The very formidable, patient strategy. And just at the end of the day, it seemed like more powerful cards. We saw Deacon Z dropping a card like Frosthog, 2 mana, does have the rush ability, so it is very cute, I must admit. Sometimes I myself find the instinct to put a card in just because of how adorable it is. I understand this. But when you're talking about a adorable little Frosthog and a menacing Serpentide or a menacing Grimblade, we're starting to see the power level of Zach's deck. And the Inferno bot finally showing its face. A monster attack, all out. You're dead next turn. Come and get me. And unfortunately, it's too little too late. So I think we are going to see Zach pick up game 1 here. I'm going to do a quick check-in on Twitter, just see how things are going. Because I believe that we are going to be in short work for this match. And indeed, Zach does win that game. Again, these are free-to-play events. Anyone can play Coon Battles. You can play with all of the Angels, all of the Champions, Infernos and Vortexes and Whirlwinds. Oh my. We're here with you on your Friday. Thank you for being with us. We are Champions of Otherworldly Magic. My name is Brett Banfi, Manifestable, and I am your host. I'm joined today in the studio with my empty coffee mug. I can't find it right now, but here it is. We're joined today. This is my co-host. It's Empty Coffee Mug, and I don't have a good seat or table for the Empty Coffee Mug yet, but maybe I'll try to come up with one. So we have we're bringing you live action from the Coon Battles event. There we go. So. And honestly, Zach, again, we're following Zach's progress through this tournament, is one of our strongest competitors, also one of our friendliest Discord members. Come on in, discord.gg/Coon Battles. Say hello to us. Let us know you want to get started playing this game. Let us know you found out about the game on the stream. And I'd love to make sure that we can get you a nice card to get started. From my personal collection, probably own about 100 or so cards at this point. Love to make sure that if you haven't had a chance to get started in this game, if you have a hand cash wallet, swing over to our Discord, discord.gg/Coon Battles, and tag me in a message. Let me know that you would like to get started. Check out what this game's all about, and I'll see if I can't rummage up a nice one for you. So, yeah, it looks like we have chosen a really strong field, member of our field to follow through this tournament event. Let me see if there's any other results from round 2. We do see Zach won that one. All right, and I am just going to check in. So I want to give you a tournament status update report. The tournament status, it looks like Raumund was able to take out Eric Brodnick. Also, both members, strong competitors from our Discord. And Raumund advanced to round 3. And now we see that Haruki taking out Commander Chief, which I am surprised that Commander Chief was taken out because, well, Haruki, I'm not surprised that Haruki took the Chief out. Of course, Haruki, a strong player in their own right, but that Chief, wow, I've played against them multiple times, and they are no one to mess with. That was maybe one of my tournament favorites, but a clearer road for Zach now. We're seeing him begin game 2 against Deacon Z. That game is in round 2, game 2. Zach took the first one. And Blends and Fiddlestick still working in round 1. Let's see. So we're following the action here. And we see an early Nordy and an early Enchi. And now it is Zach on turn 3. Enchi has that Life Bloom ability and is a 3/3. First of all, let's again talk about how adorable it is. Enchi, one of the cutest cards. Look at that. It can kill you, but if it does, are you really that mad? I mean, look at it, Pandorable with the Life Bloom ability. So Enchi and Pandorable both as nature cards. Some of these abilities, they are not exclusive to certain elements, but they do tend to lean towards certain elements, and both are nature cards, both with that Life Bloom ability. And as we see on the top of our Champions cards, we see the number on the right with the swords indicating the attack value, the number on the right with the shield indicating the health, the HP value. Deacon, I believe it is Deacon's turn 5. Oh, maybe turn 4. It looks like maybe that Punk came out and played the Pegasi with the Hatch ability for free. And Uga Chief in Zach's hand. So this going to be a very difficult card for Deacon to deal with. Monk comes down. It's a 2-mana card. And we see a blue egg that is blue. The egg cult does not exist. That is a a public service announcement that just need everyone to understand that. The Hydrofang is what comes in for free with that hatch ability. So the egg at 1 mana, the Hydrofang at 2 doesn't get you a great value there, and I think that may be a misstep from Deacon. Not here to criticize players' decision making here, but if you can play it for 2 mana or play it for 1 and lose a card, I think a card is worth more than 1 mana. The attack from Roggolt and Pegasi. Roggolt does have that rush ability. It's a 4 mana spell, so 4 mana champion. And then Pandorable taking the egg out. That is something that not a lot of players do, but it is really strong. You will see the players at the top of the tournament tables. They are taking those turns to remove opponents' eggs because, you know, while you do sacrifice 1 damage that you could deal to your opponent, at the end of the day, if you can ensure that your Infernos skip the eggs because those eggs are already in the graveyard, then that is, in my opinion, a damage well wasted. Let's put it that way. My name is Brett. I'm your host today, Friday's $50 daily tournament. I'm joined today by my co-host, the Empty Coffee Mug. And we see the Icy Quine come down. It does freeze that Pegasi, and the Serpentide. Now so as opposed to having played the Hydrofang off of the blue from Deacon's side, you see that Zach paying full mana value for that Serpentide, and it is the biggest creature on the battlefield right now. And second biggest is Pegasi. So Zach, although the Pegasi is frozen for 1 additional turn, Zach seemingly in control of this game, and also seemingly with the deck that has the slightly higher power level of card. Right, we see an Eagle-On that has the Whirlwind ability. That is that dragon-looking eagle. That is the special dragon skin from the Genesis hand cash airdrop. Which only 1,500 of them. And let us know, by the way, in the comments if you're watching this stream on either Twitch, Twitter, or YouTube. We are live on all 3. If you're watching this stream and you would like another airdrop for an upcoming mint, drop that in the chat or in the comments. I'd love to see how many people would be interested in a follow-up airdrop. I think that would be very nice. You do get these airdrops, you get these very rare skins like that Eagle-On with the dragon skin. If you've played the game before, you know that the traditional Eagle-On looks much more like an eagle, but I just love that dragon version. You see, followed up by a Bunotron from Deacon Z, and now Zach, taking his time to think about this, does pay full value for the Cactalord. I think that is wise and smart. And it looks like I was going to say he forgot to attack with the Pegasi, but of course that is frozen from the Icy Quine, so that was not a mental lapse there. Cactalord seemingly a little naked on this board. It is 7. So it can currently tangle with anything that would individually try to attack it. It can get ganged up on. Of course, it would kill anything trying to gang up on it. But many of the cards in Deacon's deck have the ability to boost both the attack and the HP values of various champions on the board. So we see a Frosthog come down. This is one of those cards that I think just separates Deacon's deck from Zach's deck, where ideally you would want that Frosthog to be something a little bit more impactful on the game, because even that Pandorable just trades with the Frosthog. You don't even get to eat the Pandorable. The Frosthog can take out that Ponk, but of course when you're talking about a turn 8, turn 9 play, you want to do something a little more impactful than just kill a Ponk. He may even be thinking about maybe getting that Pandorable, maybe getting the Ponk, or maybe going straight to Zach's face. Looks like he gets the Pandorable. And again, that Pandorable came in and did have the Life Bloom ability, so it did its job. It buffed the Pegasi. Of course, the Pegasi was frozen a second time, so that's why on this turn you will not see it attack. Flammy, one of the Inferno cards, at 2 mana as a 3/3 comes down and gets rid of 2 opposing champions. That's why you take time and get rid of those eggs, because you're opposing you want your Inferno abilities to get real cards that matter, not these eggs that just sit around on the board and wait to get blessed. Just tuning in, my name is Brett. I am bringing you live coverage of our $50 daily tournament. We are in round 2, game 2. Zach defeated Zach's round 1 opponent was Cope, a formidable player. Many know Cope from Twetch. The leader of this egg cult doesn't exist cult. And we see him in round 2. His opponent is Deacon Z. Deacon with the Bunotron on the board. That Bunotron does have the guard ability, one of the strongest 3-mana cards. Lumi comes down, and as we saw, the Lumi can bless that Ponk. Rogolt comes down. Bunotron gets an attack in. Rogolt with dealing 5. The Fury returns the Pegasi to the hand. Now, I have to wonder if that is the strongest strategy. Not trying to, again, question the decisions of our tournament players here, but the Pegasi was frozen for 1 additional turn. So I would have waited at least 1 more turn, because now what you're going to see is that Pegasi can come down, attack, clean up the Fury, kill it, and survive. And now you are, a little bit up against it. Yes, your opponent is at 10, so they're likely to die. But you with 1 card in hand, what is your strategy to dealing that last 10? Especially when you know that Zach is bringing some powerful cards, and we see exactly what I said. That Fury came down. That Fury bounced the frozen Pegasi. The Pegasi comes back down, attacks and kills the Fury, when in actuality you didn't need to give your opponent that opportunity. And we see the Ugachi just waiting around like a Pyrobot comes down again. 2. So the Earthquake does deal 2 to each player, which is important, because your opponent being at 6 is a lot different than your opponent being at 10, because no card currently exists with the rush mechanic that can deal 10. But there are several that can deal 6 on a single turn. So you're at least opening yourself up to some live outs here. Of course, Pegasi traditionally would love to attack Deacon's face, but you can't afford to have the Pegasi. And it looks like Zach was able to lose. That Deacon Z. I apologize. Deacon Z was able to rip a Fox Assassin, I believe, off of the top of the deck. Now, Fox Assassin does have the rush ability with 7 attack. Was able to take down the last remaining 6. So that was a very good job. But at the same time, that is a really, you don't want to put yourself in a position where you need to rip a Fox Assassin off the top of your deck in order to kill your opponent. But when it does happen, of course, you don't you don't say sorry for it. So I want to just remind everyone that my name is Brett. I am your host for this event. It looks like my colleague here is the coffee mug, the empty coffee mug, joined here. So I'm just making a little design on the coffee mug's face so everyone can see it a little bit better. We are tuned in for live tournament coverage of Champions of Otherworldly Magic, and my coffee mug is not looking very Very friendly. He kind of looks a little bit rude, but hey. All right, there we go. This is my co-host, and yeah, we're here on your Friday. Thank you very much for joining us. Bringing you live tournament coverage, $50 free-to-enter daily tournaments at coombattles.com, and our coverage is going to be hopefully a couple days a week. Maybe we can even bring you some coverage all 5 days. We're streaming live on YouTube, on Twitch, and on x.com. These events are free to enter, so if you want to join, the game is free to play, and you can also we have a mint coming up September 21st, and the mint will support credit card purchases. Details will be available at coombattles.com, so make sure you tune in for that event. We'll likely be hosting some sort of special lead up to the event. All right, so when we saw that Zach took game one, Zach took game one, Deacon took game two, and when you lose in competitive play for Coom Battles, you do have the option of going first in the next round. So we see that Zach is the player who is playing first in this game. While Zach takes a second to think about his second turn, I'm going to check in and see if there's any other updates throughout the rest of the bracket and give you those results. We saw, of course, Raumund and Haruki were able to get paired up in round 3, and Haruki advances 2-0, and Raumund has a very, very strong deck. So Haruki sliced through the field, gets paired up with Commander Chief in round 2, takes him down, who was one of my tournament picks for favorite. I played against him twice last night and was absolutely murdered. Then Haruki gets paired up against Raumund and takes him down 2-0. So we're seeing that potentially Haruki all the way to the best of 5 finals, and one of the favorites for the entire event. Fukuchi still waiting on blends and fiddlesticks. Let me check in and make sure that Fukuchi and blends and fiddlesticks are still going. Fukuchi waiting in round 2 for the winner of Blends and Fiddlesticks. By the way, if you are not familiar with Blends, another wonderful streamer. He streams on Twitch. He streams on Kick.com, bringing you live coverage of Coom Battles. Twitch.com/Justin Blends, I believe. So check that out. And if that's not the correct link, reach out to me in the Discord and I will provide you that correct link. So the strategy that won for Deacon last game was early, quick, cheap attacks, survive in the middle game, and then rip some fast, big creatures at the end. We see that was looking like a promising start for Deacon, but of course Flammy comes down with that Inferno ability. One of Zach's 3 Inferno cards. He does have the Scorchwing and the Inferno Bot. Scorchwing and Flammy at 2 mana, the Inferno Bot at 6. But he follows it up with a Tretier, and this is what happens when you're playing a deck that is just, I think, slightly more powerful than yours. In my opinion, a little bit more well-positioned for the format right now. These matches that we're following right now, these are ranked play, so it is required that you own the cards that you're playing with. Of course, we do have a free play option for players just looking to check the game out, but if you want to play a Tretier, you will have had to open one in either the hand cash mint or the Ordinals wallet mint, or you would have to pick one up on the secondary market. Those cards are available. I believe it is market.handcash.io for the I prefer the cards on Handcash just because you are able to trade them around a little bit easier if you want to move them from you know, maybe lend them to your friends or something like that. It's cheap to do so using hand cash, so that's the marketplace that I prefer. We see Pandorable come down, and with the Life Bloom ability, add 4 HP to Roggolt, and Tredier thinks about attacking Enchi, but Zach decides to attack the face, and this, I am not going to say that I hate this decision. I think it is definitely early to consider that you can race your opponent right now. And that's essentially what you're saying. You're saying, well, I'm going to ignore your creatures on the board. I'm just going to try to kill you before they kill me. And of course, whenever your opponent makes that decision, it puts you on alert. As a competitive TCG player, you think, okay, either my opponent doesn't know what they're doing, which can happen very frequently, or else I'm in serious trouble. Because when your opponent starts ignoring your board and just attacking your face, it's likely because of some information that they have that you don't have, such as some cards that might be in Zach's hand right now. And there we see it, Chief coming down. It's exactly what I was thinking. It just signals to your opponent, I have a very strong, fast attack. You are dead before I am. I'm going to ignore you and just race you. And Mechafly last turn from Deacon with no Whirlwind target. He doesn't want to Whirlwind that Pandorable because at only 1 mana it will just Life Bloom the Tredier. And of course Tredier would have been wonderful to Whirlwind, but it has that ability Guard that makes it so that it cannot be the target of enemy effects like Whirlwind Blizzard or enemy Blizzard or Inferno, and I think there might be one more that it gets around. We see the attack from Deacon, and unfortunately, you know, this is what you have to do. This is, your hand is being forced by your opponent. You must now raise them. But remember, that was the strategy that did win for Deacon. So perfect play right here from Deacon would be an Icy Quine. There you see it, and it was what he needed exactly when he needed it. So that Uga Chief is scary, but it is frozen in a block of ice right now. Of course, Earthquake, again, that's the other ability that Tredier can get around, so that 2 damage doesn't get dealt to the Tredier. Tredier able to attack and kill the Ice Quine if he would like to. Let's see if Zach still decides that ignoring the face, ignoring the creatures is the correct strategy. He's thinking about it. He decides to do so. So again, he's sticking with his strategy, and I don't hate it. To me, it is very scary if you are the opposing player and your opponent starts attacking your face. You have to be on alert. But of course, Zach cannot see what those 4 cards in Deacon Z's hand are. Perhaps if he could, then maybe he would make a different decision. But that's the wonderful thing about this. We are bringing you live coverage of Coon Battles Tournament. I'm here with my co-host, the Empty Coffee mug, and I've drawn a little face on the mug. But this game is very much skill-focused, skill-based, but there is an element of variance and randomness. One of the best cards for Deacon is that Fox Assassin. It can attack and kill the Tredier for free. Now, keep in mind, this Tredier is very annoying. But it looks like instead, again, I'm not sure I 100% love that decision because that Uga Chief was frozen for 1 more turn. So again, we're seeing Deacon Z making a slight misuse of that Blizzard ability, because you could just kill the Tredier and then on the next turn kill the Uga Chief, and now you've taken two threats out with 1 card. But unfortunately, he jumps the gun a little bit. Zach down to 3 cards in hand, but 3 on the battlefield. We see Deacon Z 1 card on the battlefield with 4 in hand. We see a green egg come down. Run. One thing I want to highlight for everyone, in addition to this million mint that's coming up with the alpha release of Champions of Otherworldly Magic, there is going to be Champions products available live in local TCG stores coming soon. And so keep your eyes peeled for that. Let us know if you see the Champions of Otherworldly Magic products and merchandise in your local game store. That is coming this week. All right, and we are going to do an initial rollout with, our partner flagship stores that will be featuring the products for the first time, and follow that up with a global push. Serpentine comes down. It has that vortex ability that you saw, the green vortex swirling around the Serpentine. It's like a poisonous vortex, and that is signaling the 3 damage that gets dealt directly to Deacon. Those little decisions that Deacon made to take the turn off, to attack and kill the Uga when it was free to attack and kill the Tretier. Now the Tretier, still alive, still dealing the lethal damage to Deacon. We're seeing how some of these, wouldn't call them mistakes, but some of these questionable play decisions are adding up and putting Deacon in a position where basically he's going to need to get lucky again. His opponent is at 20. Zach is at 20. This, of course, is game 3. Again, that Frosthog that's just slightly less powerful than the Serpentine and some of these other cards that are being played. And the Frosthog again having to trade 2 cards for 1. And here we see again the Tretier could have been killed for free, but sticking around. It's the last thing that's on the board, and but this game is very much all about evaluating tempo. Can I do this before my opponent can do that? Sometimes you make what you believe is the correct play, but turns out to be the wrong play. But you really do benefit from, even if the right play produces wrong results, over time, these correct decision lines will even themselves out to produce favorable results. And that's what we're seeing right here with Zach. We're seeing an unnecessary Icy Quine and boosting of his, this is a little bit dancing on the grave of Deacon Z, who's only at 1, but we are seeing Zach advance, and Zach will advance, I believe, to round 3. That was round 2 for Zach. Let me just check in. I'll look at the current leaderboard. We saw checking in. So our event began today, 90 minutes ago, at noon Eastern time. These are daily events. You will, they will, times will be posted in the Discord. So if you're tuning in, thank you for being our viewer. We are bringing you live coverage of the $50 daily event. Thank you for being with us on your Friday. My name is Brett, and I'm your host. I am available to reach out through the Discord. So if you have any questions about how to enter these tournaments, they are free to enter. The formats do vary, but today we're seeing a repeat of our yesterday's format, which was a NFT ranked singleton format that was won by Cope, this Egg Cult Doesn't Exist cult leader, but we saw that Zach took Cope out, yesterday's champion, in round 1, moves on to defeat Deacon Z, and has advanced to the finals. Now advanced to round 3. Want to just check if that match result has been reported. That has been reported. I'm following on in 2-1 Fiddlesticks. Great games from Fiddlesticks and Blends. I'd love to get Blends up here too if he's out of the event, and maybe he would want to join us. So I will. I don't mean to slide you aside, my current co-host, the coffee mug, but if we're gonna bring an additional All right. So I've invited Blends to join us to see how his games went. There might be a little break in coverage here as we are following Zach's journey through the event, and Zach has just won and advanced round 3. I'll let him know that we're he Zach is letting us know that the first 2 rounds have been very intense and draining for him. I would have to agree. That is what I got from that as well. Let's see. Oh, and he has announced that it is his 2 a.m. So again, these times will be rotating, and I will just since Zach is not streaming anymore, let's turn that off for just a moment. So yeah, these times will rotate, and so beginning next week, we're going to have them starting 8 p.m. Eastern time on Mondays, and cascade down by 2 hours each day. So Tuesday will be 6, Wednesday will be 4, Thursday will be 2, and then followed up with a Friday. It'd be kind of fun to do something too, where we do like something a little bit fun for Fridays. I don't know. We'll try to bring you coverage every Friday, and maybe we can do something else. Not sure. If you have any ideas too, like how we can make Fridays like a fun day for our community, please reach out and let me know. All right. We're gonna take a quick break and be right back. All right, we're back already. Right. In the meantime, while we're waiting for our round 3 pairing, we are just going to be playing a little bit of free play. And we'll do some bounty games. So come on in, check in with me, play in our free lobby. You don't have to own the cards to play in the free lobby. And if you beat me live on stream, we will send you $10. Share the screen, and we are going to be sharing the Coon Battles lobby. Here we go. All right. Looks like we got Brodnick coming in. Brodnick, feel free to check in with us once your video is set and talk us through a little bit about your tournament experience today. We're live on Twitch, on YouTube, and on X. Right now I have a lobby open as well, Brodnick, so if it's a free-to-play lobby, $10 bounties while we're waiting for all right. That's one nice way that you can ensure that you get a quick pairing for your game lobby. Just throw the $10 bounty on it, and watch those those decks, those wizards line up to beat you. Who doesn't like $10? Am I right? Am I right, Eric?
Hey, is it working now? What's up, Brett?
Yay, Eric. Yeah, it's working great. Sounds good to me. How's it sound to you?
Sounds good. Sounds good, man. These loving these in tournaments there, and they cater to a lot more people. I think I was trying to collect them all, like the old Pokemon days, and just trying to scoop up one of each, and that worked out nice. Although clearly some strong contenders here, as I struggle to make it past first couple rounds.
Yeah, let's see. So in that one tournament, you got paired up against Oot, the Japanese champion. And, in this tournament, you get paired up against Raymond, who is world number 2, currently the world number 2 player. So you seem to have like some sort of luck of the draw where you just get paired up against the monsters of the field,
Yeah, you're right. It's funny because I do luck out a lot of times getting a first round bye, but then back on the back end going against some of the pretty tough guys. Yeah, almost took down Oot. Yeah, I won't get too much into it, but it was my own mistake. Just miscalculating mana costs and all that. Gotta be sharp on your game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Oot, just a tremendous player. Our Japanese champion, undefeated through 12 rounds of competitive weekend, both the Invitational and the Open Series play. He's won $600 now through the past 2 weekends playing. So absolutely, he is someone who you don't want to take make a misstep against. Yeah, still, I believe in our ranked leaderboard, let's see, pull this up. Yeah, he's 45 wins, 9 losses. So just an absolutely
He's got some
powerhouse.
great cards. I mean, I think I remember an Uga Chief, Pegasol, Treyguard, so Flame McWalkin. I think that he had all those ones. So he's got some great cards. But like playing Ramen today, he was best card I saw was like a Uga, and so I was surprised. He's very tactical about his approach today.
Yeah, I think he's still building his collection. So he's one of those other players that won $150 in our first tournament. That's where he got his world number 2 title. At second place, lost in 5 games to Oot. But I think that he's someone who, when we're playing the free play mode, his it's obviously all players' decks are a lot stronger in the free play mode, but he's still building that collection out in terms of getting those spicy one-ofs, etc. And I think he's sold some of his strongest cards. Like he had a tree guard, which he ended up selling, etc. So now it's interesting to see him get these tournament winnings and then immediately use them to try to boost back up to the to the place where his deck used to be when it first came together.
Interesting. Yeah. Onboarded my good buddy. You saw him, Colt 45.
Colt 45, yeah.
He's still trying to get acclimated with Discord. He big trading card guy, but not too immersed in the crypto world and Discord. So showing him the ropes there, but we just barely got it in. With the transferring, I was selling him some cards, transferring him some cards just for him to build the deck. I think he was able to put together like 26, but holy smokes! I mean, obviously, the pains and tribulations of moving BTC cards around. But we were able to get him something to play with just in time.
That's awesome. Yeah, really, really. Really love to hear about the new players that are coming into the format and finding it to be fun, and of course, this is something that we're hearing time and again, but just getting that validation that you're knowing that it's not just you because you're obsessed with TCGs and things, but that your friends are finding that it's an open, welcoming, inviting community, and and that the game itself is addicting. And when you add to that the ability that you can actually earn some money playing in these events, you have a recipe for I think maybe even a global phenomenon that I'm really looking forward to seeing emerge.
Yeah, likewise. We were talking about it, and he was asking. He's like, "Man, this is a great game." He's like, "It would be super cool if the attacks were a little more animated in a way, with like the 3D kind of characters." And I remember seeing on Twitter someone did some cool. I don't know if it was Unreal renderings of like Troll Rock and a couple others, but those were
Yeah.
super cool. And I can totally see this evolve into just a more visually complex but cool game.
Yeah, absolutely. And we talk often about the fact that the developers of the game, they are crazy Unreal Engine devs. So that's something where that like theoretically that's where this game could eventually go. And I'd love to see that too, because it's just it's especially we can add in those abilities for the various different finishing moves and stuff like that. I'd love to see the the kind of like NFT and gamification of kind of the finishing moves, and you know um dancing Nordies and like break dancing after the game victory. And I just think that
Yeah.
that could be and not necessarily saying that you have to like pay for that or anything like that. I think that's a little bit um not necessarily within the scope of what I'd like to see within the game. But if you can earn it, like you get 1,000 match wins in a ranked play, and you get to unlock that, like I have a Fury Bear on the field. Imagine like the Fury Bear just starts like doing windmills after after a tournament victory or something like that. Like, and showcasing the ability for those unreal kind of exploration of some of the attack moves and stuff. That would be super cool.
Oh yeah, yeah. You always got to work in the incentives for the players for sure. That's a great idea. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Man, he's got a Fury Bear and a Trey Guard. Wow, that's pretty. I was lucky enough. I minted 3 Fury Bears and just sold one of them to Colt 45. So it was sad to see him go, but I
And
don't
did
think
you
I
mint
need
it
3.
on BSV, right? Because you're a big BSV guy.
Yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, no. My wife and I took a nice cross country road trip, so I was off the grid when the BSV mint happened. I was able to get like the second BSV mint for like some that ended up didn't making it, but just a bunch of commons. So yeah,
Yeah.
heavy on the BTC mint, and I'm sure you've seen me poke around with trying to get those moved over. That would have made getting Colt 45 a deck of cards a lot easier this morning. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so that's unfortunate. Yeah. I remember that now. Yeah. And like that's I heard you talking in the Discord about how you'd love if you could burn your BTC cards and remint them on BSV, So yeah, it's unfortunate the BTC mint it was like, 2 hours to get your cards and 2 hours to resettle your UTXOs. And I was on vacation with my family, and I'm sitting there in the log cabin, like out in the middle of nowhere. Like, I'm like trying to refresh my page. Like, when are these UTXOs going to settle? Like, I want to mint this, etc. So, whereas on hand cash, it'll be interesting to see when this new million mint comes out in September. The people who missed that first BSV mint are going to be hungry to get back in. And you know the other thing I guess I'll ask you, because you're a serious tournament player, one of our really serious tournament players here. um what is the okay, so just real quick, I am going to continue this game here. um but we're gonna switch over to bringing you the live coverage of the remaining event here, because Zach was able to get paired up, so his opponent was Fukuchi. And just give me 1 second while I load this up, okay?
Nice. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Apologies.
That'd be fun to watch.
Yeah. But yeah, so what are your thoughts around like the different various tournament formats that we've been playing, etc.? Like, are you really enjoying this? And what would you like to see a little bit more of? What would you like to see maybe a little bit less of? Walk us through some of your thoughts as someone who's just on the tournament scene.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's funny. The definitely was itching for ranked tournaments, and Fiddlesticks, one of the most. He's got, I think, one of the most games on the for ranked. We've been going back and forth, just kind of chatting about it, and we were getting a little, we were getting worked with the free play tournaments, because it was just just following the meta of the format. It's tricky. The draw is important, but these more limited scoped ranked formats, they just really open it up to a lot more people in terms of not having to have a crazy expensive deck. A lot more, I feel, strategy is involved. Every game is unique. It feels in a way. So I really like the limited scope of it. And everything could possibly change as well once the eggs I think are getting nerfed a bit and the evolutions are implemented. So that'll be really interesting to see how that has an impact on some of these formats, especially the singleton one, because the evolutions kind of play nicely into that.
That's what that was what I was hoping you would say. Just tuning in really quick, I just want to comment on the game. It looks like Fukuchi with the Pandorable and the Monk that have been life bloomed, and now Eaglon coming down, returning that Monk, and then Flammy coming down, but Flammy that unfortunately wasn't even able to kill that Pandorable with the life bloom ability. So the Enchi looks like might be able to trade with that Eaglon. May even just ignore it. Looks like it's just gonna ignore it.
Yeah.
And then we see a Tree Guard come down. So yeah, this is a Fukuchi. Again, these are ranked play singleton format. So Tree Guard, a very powerful card, but luckily not a lot of people own one in the ranked version of the game. But unfortunately for Zach, unfortunately for him, Fukuchi is one of those people that actually does own it. All right, so an attack in with the Enchi and the Tree Guard. And a Pegasol coming down, putting Zach to 12. Another one that fortunately in ranked play, a lot of people don't own that Pegasol, but Fukuchi is one of those Japanese players like Oot that have really seriously focused on the ranked play. And here's my question to you too, because I've been thinking about this a lot, especially if you know that $50 daily tournaments are going to be coming down. Some of these cards are like $200 right now, which I agree is really expensive for a card. But if you know that, okay, well, I could win a tournament, at least a tournament a week, and in a month, that card pays for itself. Have you thought about that in terms of the strategy around the cards at all? Because that's something that I've certainly thought of. Just wanted to hear what your thoughts were on that.
Yeah, that's definitely a good way to think about it. To be honest, I hadn't really thought of it in that way. I just, go into my my spreadsheets with my different algorithms for trying to give value to abilities and different ratios and cost efficiencies to build my deck that way. But yeah, shoot. That it definitely could be worth the purchase of some of these higher value cards. And what's nice too is talking to the community over Discord. You definitely can work out some deals over the counter with people. Usually, if they're somewhat motivated to move it for a little bit less than maybe what's listed.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was game one, Fukuchi.
Game one, Fukuchi, yeah.
All right. Brett, the million card mint, is that going to be like second edition of all the same character champions or I think I saw a few new ones actually. What's that look like? Are they all new?
Yeah, it's all new champions.
Holy
all
smokes!
New. So it's
how many total?
Expansion set. I believe it's going to be another 151.
Okay.
And yeah, so yeah, it's bringing in. What's nice about this is that these cards, hopefully, that because they're going to be all new, especially these singleton formats, instead of like looking through your common pile and trying to find some single commons that to build a full singleton pauper deck or something like that. Now we're talking about introducing maybe an entirely brand new set of 90 commons. Maybe, I don't know what the exact numbers are, but maybe a set of like 50 or so rares, different unique rares, 50, maybe 10 or 15 or 20, however many mythics get printed in these sets. But now you're talking about, number one, the free-for-alls are going to be a lot of fun because you're going to have all these brand new champions that you can test out that you've never played with before. But also these more nimble and more strategic formats like Pauper or it'd kind of be fun to try to develop some formats on our own, maybe like a capture the flag format or something like that, where it's like multiplayer and you're like, you're trying to to do battle against your opponent and but at the same time keep your flag captured or on your own hill for 3 turns or something like that. Like, it'd be kind of fun to try to develop our own game formats. But yeah, that's going to be the strategy, is brand new champions, brand new formats, and continuing with this cycle. So we haven't even really officially announced this, but it's looking like this cycle of tournaments is going to continue. So we're going to have these $50 dailies every day, basically ongoing for the rest of the time. And then we're going to do, I believe, $10,000 total prize monthlies. So look for maybe an announcement of that coming soon. But what I would envision would be maybe around Halloween or something like that. We have our first kind of large scale tournament where we're posting $5,000 prize to the winner, and we're announcing what the format is ahead of time, and then we're just taking this very seriously, where we're gonna do those hopefully on an ongoing monthly basis. So once a month, or you're going to be able to compete in these really larger global events. Maybe we stagger the time, so sometimes they're good for European players. We're of course very popular in Japan, so we want to make sure that we're giving them some tournament times that are valuable for them as well. But yeah, I want to hear what your thoughts are on the strategy to go for these large-scale competitive tournaments.
I mean, that'll definitely bring some eyes on it with a $5,000 prize. Yeah, it's hard to say. I like it. I think quantity is more interesting just for me personally, but yeah, I mean that's pretty cool, having a big prize tournament like that. And regarding the new 151 champions and coming up with different game formats, I mean that's super exciting too, because I know there's no lack of creativity on the Coom team to be able to come up with all these champions and artwork and formats. I'm pretty sure you guys could come up with something nice.
Yeah, and they're just getting started. I mean, this is a team that is just consistently delivering, and
yeah. What's the insight on the evolutions and what's going to happen to the eggs? You got any insight on that before I purchase a bunch of ponks?
I do have a little insight on it. Unfortunately, I'm not going to reveal the insight that I have, just because I have to get, first of all, I love talking about stuff before I'm allowed to, you know what I mean? And I'll always defer to doing that. But the only time I won't, like, for example, if it was just, hey, no one's supposed to know this yet, but I'll tell you in advance, I can do that. But if it's, I truly don't know what they're going to be. I know what I've heard they're going to be. And the thing I don't want to do is say what I've heard, and then that, then it turns out that they're not that. If I knew for a fact what they would be, I would tell you right now. But yeah, I don't want to create confusion,
No, that's fair. All
yeah,
good.
So as soon as I get a definitive answer, though, I will let you know.
The Inferno bot. That's a good card. I was looking at one of those today. Yeah, that's another thing with the Inferno. That's going to be interesting to see if that reverts back, because that really I splurged on a Flammerai and he's not really making it into my singleton deck.
Well, I did hear that the Inferno abilities have been recoded. The thing is that for those that have been paying attention and kind of keeping up with what's going on in the world of Cocoon battles, we're in the middle. We're about a week into a complete server migration right now, where we are, moving from a server that was kind of built out of the box. You know what I mean? Like, it'd be like the equivalent of a buy it off the shelf server, and the server that we're moving to is a completely custom built, fully developed by hand, by our back-end engineer. And so yeah, it's exciting because on the one hand, a lot of these mechanics have had to be sort of given some safety lanes to be able to operate, like Inferno being one of them. Their previous version of the ability is recoded, but it just that hasn't been deployed yet. And as I understand it, in the next week to 10 days, we may see that actually deployed while the completion of that server migration is completed. And we are seeing a Inferno that wipes the board for Zach, followed up by a Grim Blade. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the return of the traditional Inferno. Although, on the one hand, I think I like the Inferno ability better when it's a predictable 5 every time, because, you take the variance away from it. But of course,
I would agree with that too. And maybe I like the 5/5, but it just maybe even if it was maybe like 3 or 4 damage to yourself, a little something less, just to make those cards at least persist an extra round.
Yeah, no, they'll go back to the original ability where it's a random number to each creature, including itself. But the problem is that when you really depend on those Inferno cards to get rid of something, and then there's those every once in a while where it gets something that it shouldn't, maybe it kills a Purity because you just happen to get the 1 in 10 random chance that you did that. But the tournament player in me is like, okay, well, at least if I know for a fact that it's 5, I can plan for it to deal 5. Whereas once you start including this random variance and stuff, I'm like, it's like it's so hard to calculate what is the correct decision, because you could be like, okay, well, this creature only has 3 HP, so clearly a Inferno should get rid of it, but there's going to be those 1 in 5 chances where it doesn't get rid of it, and you end up your strategy gets wrecked because of the random coin flip that you went with. And so like, when he first told me that it was going to work the way it does, I was very nervous. And because I'm someone who likes to be able to plan for even if the result is not as good, as long as I know it's for sure going to happen, I can at least work with that. Whereas the randomness of it is something where I can't account for that. And as a mathematical kind of player that really likes to compute, odds and stuff, I really it drives me crazy, because now it becomes a very difficult decision tree to do, because you can't spend too much time thinking about, well, what happens if my Inferno only deals 1 damage? Like, how much time are you going to waste thinking about that when you really only have 90 seconds to make your move? So
Yeah.
Fukuchi returning with a very strong follow-up, and now we have the Luminix still on the battlefield at 8-1, and the Crabubba as a 4-5.
Crabubba, that's a solid value card. That
Really great card.
It's looking pretty good for Zach at the moment.
Fukuchi, Mechafly does come and return that Luminix. Very interesting decision there. We get an attack in for 12 and a pass. Now the Luminix can come down, of course, can bless that Crabubba, but the Crabubba can really only take out one thing, right? So let's just say it takes out the Roggolt, because that makes the most sense. There's still 12 damage on the board, which would put Fukuchi to 6. It looks like the Luminix takes out blesses that egg, and now the egg takes out the Roggolt. The Crabubba.
That was a good move, I think.
Yeah, that was a good move. The Crabubba now able to take out a Lumi, and now instead of having 12 damage on the Crackback, wow. See, I would have taken out a 4-5. Interesting decision there. Maybe just saying
missed his swipe or
missed a swipe, or else he's really just rolling the dice and saying, I want to wait till next turn when I can kill 2 things with this. But if you're dead, then next turn never comes, right? So, and unfortunately, that's what we're seeing here. Now down to 3. So there are 4 lethal attackers on the board, right? Because Lumi, Mechafly, Gua, S, and Hydrofang are all lethal. 2 Flammies. Flammy takes out 2 of those lethal attackers. Now you have the Gua, S, and the Hydrofang. One of them can die to the Crabubba, but with 1 card in hand, you see the Luminix, and it's just 1 damage short of being able to. And for style points, Zach wins with the Uga Chief, and just letting you know, hey, I had it the whole time.
All right.
Yeah.
Game 3. This one is best of 5 too, yeah?
This is best of 3. Yeah, and let me check in with the Discord here, just make sure that.
This is the semifinal. My mistake.
This is the round 3, and I will also check in with the rest of the tournament bracket just to see how things went. And by the way, Eric, we'd love to have you back too on the channel. So if you are ever interested in signing up for these dailies, and you end up needing to or getting knocked out of them, and you want to come up and join us, we'd love to have you. Haruki advanced to the finals. We see Zach and Fukuchi, so we could see a Fukuchi Haruki finals here, and that would be a lot of fun. They sort of rhyme. We got a lot of Uchi.
Yeah, they both are very very good players. I played them last night, and they were smacking me good.
Yeah.
When are you going to get in some of these, Brett?
Oh, that's a good question. I think once the system is built up to run itself, maybe I would love to jump in these tournaments. Or maybe I'll have the Kumalord come in and like guest host a tournament so that I can jump in one. Maybe next Friday or something like that. I was trying to think of ways that we could make Fridays more fun than the other daily 50s. Like maybe we do like a bonus or something like that. Or like maybe we do an airdrop, for the Friday events or something like this. It could be like a nice way. I just want to make the the Friday event feel like kind of a little bit more special. You know, the weekend's coming. Let's get psyched. Let's get excited. Let's get hyped. Where are you? Are you in the States, by the way?
Sorry, my dog was barking. Yeah. I'm in North San Diego County.
Oh, great. And what about you? Do you attend local game stores?
No, it's been a while.
Yeah, so
Been a while.
that'd be like kind of where like you'd buy like your Settlers of Catan or kind of like your Carcassones and stuff like that. We're looking to get our products into those shops. So if I was going to say if you have like a friendly relationship with any of them, we'd love to reach out and talk to them. We're going to be looking to launch our Million Mint within local game stores. So
Oh, interesting. Yeah, that's a great idea, I think.
yeah, so the way that I'm thinking of is like, you know, if you imagine like the Snow White mirror, like the evil mirror on the wall or something like that, right? Where you know you walk up to it and it is like a portal to another world, or like Narnia, you know, like in the back of the closet you have the Narnia, which is like the portal to the Narnia kingdom, etc. You know, I'm imagining that basically we can do these like posters that are inside the game shops, and the posters themselves are like the Narnia portal to these other worlds, right? You just go up with your hand cash and you use your QR code to scan the code at the bottom of the poster. And then right there, you can, if you're a brand new player, you can get a free starter deck or something like that. Like, and you know, maybe if you already have a starter deck, you can, you know, just start buying the cards. You know, they're like, you know, really reasonable. You can use a credit card or a debit card. The thing is that these are using blockchain technology, and I know you're a big fan of BSV. These are using blockchain technology to keep track of who owns what and things like this. But in terms of payments, you know, like we're still integrating the payment side of things with respect to blockchain, etc. So, you know, we're opening the door to traditional game stores, traditional brick and mortar companies, and traditional customers that are used to using a credit and debit card to buy their game assets. You know, so our game should be no different. You should be able to walk up to our portal, hanging in the store, scan it, get a free starter pack, scan it again to buy some of the, you know, the actual packs themselves, like the expert packs, you might say. Yeah, I think it's just like kind of a no-brainer, and
Yeah, that's a great idea. A lot less friction that way, and yeah, just to sell the 1,000,000 cards, I think that'll definitely help the case.
yeah.
For
Well,
sure.
and the other thing is, I mean, we have a very active community, right? We have 1,000 people in our Discord. There's usually on our tournament events we're getting 30 to 40 signups, and
Ooh.
but we'd love to see that number grow from 1,000 Discord users to, you know, 100,000 Discord users. And where is that inflection point that we need to reach, where we're moving from, you know, these are the people that like the game because it's cool and built on Bitcoin or built on Ordinals, and we're getting to the point where these are the people who are joining the game because they like it, because it's a fun game. They don't necessarily need to know that it's built on blockchain, etc. They just know that it's a game that they can play on their phone or a game that they can play on their laptop, and there's some significant prize rewards for it as well. Kuchi taking out the what did he just kill there? The Pandorable?
I missed that one.
Yeah, looks like Pegasi not able to trade with the monk, but the Uga Chief, no one wanting to take that Uga Chief out. Finally, a Flamey comes down from Fukuchi.
Hanging on.
Monk able
Got
to
it.
clean it up. Yeah, it was hanging on. And the turn is flipped back to Zach. Again, this like singleton format, you're not seeing the same like onslaught of insane, powerful strategies, right? You're seeing much more nuanced, careful strategy as players are evaluating their decision making. Zach here with
Yeah, I
5
mean,
mana.
every game that has felt so unique that I've played in this format, which is which is so fun.
Yeah. All right, so we see Fondra coming down, blessing that Hydrofang, and then the Hydrofang getting in for an attack. I do like that decision by Zach because the Pandorable can't eat it. The Crabubba can, but why kill the Crabubba? Why not just force the Crabubba to kill your own Hydrofang? Then you get the free 8 damage in. And that's, of course, what happens.
Yeah, that's a strategy I always am asking myself. Like, if the Hydrofang had a little more health, was life bloomed or something, would I still attack the Crabubba to keep the Hydrofang alive, or just go for the headshot? Tough call.
Yeah, it is, and it oftentimes is going to be different depending on what's in your hand and things like that, and that's what you want to see out of a strategy game like this.
Yeah.
There's going to be times when the decision is obvious, but there's also going to be plenty of times when it's not clear, and maybe it's 55-45 to do one versus the other. But who is it better at evaluating where those slight differences lie? And I think you see that those are the people that are going to rise to the top ranks of the tournament scene. And also, those are the players who are going to be able to use their tournament winnings to repurchase stronger champions, right? So maybe you made it through a few finals here in the early days, but as the field thickens, it becomes a lot harder to win with some of the lesser powerful champions. So you take those tournament winnings, you buy the champions, the premium champions. Like maybe, I mean, like, I'm even considering maybe getting an Angel up at some point, because, if you can spike a few, like I said, few of these $50 dailies per week, and you're using that Angel to advance that strategy forward, then ultimately the Angel pretty much pays for itself, in my opinion. The other nice part is that this 1 million mint that's coming out, I mean, these are going to be priced at around $1 per card. So I don't think that there will be singles available. So you will have to buy them in packs of 5, etc. But $5 for five champions. We want there to be a really easy price point for people to get in.
Yeah, I think I love that, the little 5-pack. I think that's a cool way to do it.
Yeah.
Wow, this is a neck and neck right here.
Yeah, Cactolord has the important statistical advantage over the Lumino, but with Fukuchi first to act, fortunately you see that Tree Guard comes down, and it is not a bless ability, so the Lumino still not able to deal with this Cactolord. I believe that we are on 8 mana, although it wasn't able to kill the Cactolord outright. It was able to use the Fukuchi able to use that Life Bloom ability to boost the HP of the Lumino, and therefore enable a non-lethal attack, but still 6 damage to that Cactolord. You see the Serpentide come down with 3 mana to spare. There is a Ponk in hand.
We've got a peek of it.
Yeah, and I like the strategy of just bless the Cactolord, attack for 10, and yes, the Cactolord will die to literally anything, but it was going to die to anything anyway. At least you get that one quick attack in. But the Glaciador, wow, brutal. And now you start to look at Fukuchi. Does he have the ability to turn the corner right now? Attacking for 13 with the Lumina. Oh no, Tree Guard goes after that Guas, and a follow-up Arctopal. So Fukuchi playing the safe route, but it is a frozen Serpentide now. So Zach really having to dig out of a hole here. There is 21 damage on board, so he is dead to this next attack, and it looks like Fukuchi's going to advance to the finals. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm wondering why he didn't take out one of the guys there.
Yeah, that's an interesting question, because of course taking out that Tree Guard, you would be live at 4, but nope. Maybe
Huh.
he just saw the writing on the wall and packed it in. It's also past 2 a.m. for Zach. I know that. And unfortunately, Zach was the tournament player whose progress through the tournament we were following. So let's see. We do have Haruki and Fukuchi coming up.
There it is.
Yeah. And good game. Yeah. Well, I'm not sure if we will be able to have a coverage of the finals.
Yeah.
I'll ask if anyone. Right, and I want to just let everyone know what we are watching, what we are playing. This is Coon Battles Champions of Otherworldly Magic. I'm your host, Brett Banfi. I'm joined with Eric Brodnick. We're bringing you Friday daily $50 free to play, free to enter tournament coverage. And it is very easy to get started playing the game. Check out coonbattles.com. And head over to the Discord server, discord.gg/coonbattles to get started playing. If you're a brand new player and you heard about us on this stream, reach out to me, Manifestable, and I will see if I can pull together a little welcome prize or welcome package for you. And yeah, we do these every day. So I'm not sure if they will be every weekday or I think during the weekends there will be a different tournament schedule. We've been doing the $500 event, so I'm not sure if that one is going to continue. I have to check in with the Coon Lord, and we'll try to make an announcement today about that. But yeah, please be sure to follow our socials. We are Coon Battles on X.com, and we now are live on YouTube, streaming on YouTube, Twitch, and X. Check us out on Twitch. Follow and reach out to us. We'll get you started. Do some tutorials with you, and bring you along on this wonderful journey.
Yeah, man. A spectator mode would be sweet, huh? With just by default, all the cards are hidden in the hands.
Yeah, so as we do this server migration, I think we're still about 10 days away from the completion of it, but the server migration will allow for the coding of a new spectator mode because currently on the existing server, if we coded out a spectator mode, we would just have to recode it on the new server. So some of the big major changes that are coming for the game, they are requiring this server migration before they can be advanced. But so the big things that our audience can be looking forward to, and once again, I want to introduce myself, Brett Banfi. Thank you for joining us today on your Friday for live Coon Battles coverage. We are going to be, restoring or bridging to our new server migration. Once that server migration is done, you'll see the restoration of some beloved abilities like Inferno. I think you may see the implementation of some previously delayed strategies like maybe evolutions and the elemental damage. I'd like to see and discuss that, the development of that. And then right around the corner, we are looking at our 1 million mint. So this I would consider to be more of the alpha launch of the card game. This initial 40,000 was what you would consider just like the test cards or the pre-alpha. But these will be all brand new champions. So if you're one of those people like Eric that is looking to collect them all, you'll have a brief window of time where you can be minting these for very low prices, only around $1 per champion. And the nice part is that we are going to be taking these to your local game stores. So we have a outreach team that is looking to get in contact with some of these local stores. If you are a player out there with a relationship with your local game store, reach out to us at coonbattles@gmail.com, and we will be able to send out some promo material, send you some sales material so you can walk into the shop, show them, what our product station would look like in their store, and make sure that that you can help out with getting this game out to millions of players. And we are taking a look at the screen of Zach right now. It looks like he is asking a question in the Discord. So the question that he asks is he's just waiting on Rauman because he is paired against Rauman this round for the third and fourth place. I'm just letting him know that that our tournament website, we are using communitygaming.io. So if you're familiar with that platform, if you already have an account there, that's wonderful. That is what we're using to run these $50 free to enter daily tournaments. Our tournaments use a variety of different formats. So sometimes they are free to play, sometimes they are ranked play. I think going forward, what would you like to see? I'd like to build a consistent schedule, Eric. So maybe we do like Mondays and Tuesdays is free to play, and then Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays is kind of ranked play. Do you think that gives a fair mixture and balance of people who are newer to the game, just learning, but want to check it out and test, versus the ability to really reward the players who have built their collections, etc.?
Yeah, I think it's fair to at least, I'd say at least one day. You could do a free play tournament. But I would prefer more of the ranked ones.
Yeah.
Just me personally. But yeah, I think yeah, it's definitely fair to just give people a chance to try out a tournament with you know, free play, and even if it's not open free play, you could still do different free plays with interesting scoped formats too. So sky's the limit. But I think that's a good idea.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, maybe we'll try to work on that. Then the Tuesday schedule will be free to play, and then the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday schedule. And again, how we've been doing this is we're just kicking these ideas around, and some people might say, oh, we'd really like it to be this instead, and there's no reason why we need to stick to any of these schedules. We're just trying to build consistency, more or less, so that people know what to expect when they are.
Yeah, it's really helpful to see the rotation of the times.
Yeah.
You know, for each of the dailies to try to plan accordingly. And yeah, I mean, I think you mentioned it. Is this plan still to do? I know you mentioned like monthly, but like the weekend style.
Yeah. Plan is still to do the weekend style. So for those that are listening, we do have $500 weekend events as well, and so yeah, those are something that we're looking to continue as part of our series, um, and the only thing is that I don't 100% know about this coming Saturday, but I believe that we are doing the weekend tournament. Let me see if I can get a final answer on this. All right. So yeah, so ping the channel or ping the message in there just to see if we can get an answer on whether or not that. So I'm taking a look at what's going on here. So the match versus Ramen will begin once you and your opponent are ready. You will automatically be automatically redirected. I'm ready. So yeah, Zach, I've never been in the match room area because I'm of course organizing the events. But I was wondering how the ready up system worked. So have you seen this screen that we're looking at from Zach, which is showing the ready screen, etc.? Have you seen this before?
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty nice. Like once it's detected that have an opponent in the bracket, you get this window. You click
Okay,
you're
great.
ready, and then once both people are ready, then you usually get an option to go to the match room where you can communicate, do the coin flip, and then
Yeah.
report the score. But I don't know what happens when it times out. Does it just forfeit the other
It does
person?
forfeit for the opponent, but the thing is that we would be looking at a third and fourth place match between Zach and Rauman here. But since in our events, again, they're free to enter. We do them every day, $50 for the winner. We don't do a prize for the third and fourth match. It is for pride. So a lot of players aren't actually sticking around to finish out their third and fourth match round. But it's kind of interesting because as we continue to do these events, so I talked about um, how we're going to be doing $10,000 monthly tournaments, and even an ultimate $1 million event at the for the end of the year. I'm sorry, did I say $1 million? I meant sorry, I meant $100,000. Jeez, I wish that they were a $1 million event. I would just stop doing the reporting. I would go right into the match room and start trying to play those games.
Yeah, I think I'd start scooping up a few angels
Yeah.
myself.
No, I have a million on my mind. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, but that would be, again, how we're looking to do this is like, we have a prize pool of $100,000. We're doing half of that to first place, right? Roughly half of it. So that would be a 50K event to Spike for, the victory. And we don't know what month we're going to consider the end of the year event. So maybe it would be in November, maybe it would be in December, maybe like since we launched closer to like May, maybe our annual event happens in May because that's about a month or a year from when we launched the game. I'm not 100% sure. This is still a little bit in the works, but we do have a commitment to go forward with this tournament schedule in these cycles. And what we're trying to do with these daily events, these $50 daily events, is just get people into the habit and the routine of what a tournament field looks like, how to prepare for it, so that when these larger events happen, they're not like confused by the process, right? They have a month's worth of playing these events and knowing, okay, here, like in the beginning of the month, I was focusing more on this strategy, but now towards the end of the month, I'm really switching to this strategy, because you really want to prepare and test yourself to play in these events that, for all intents and purposes, when if you spike that last yearly event where you're winning $50,000 in first place, I mean, it could take you a year to prepare for that event. And that's still a fairly good job. You know what I mean? Like, so, that at that point you can consider yourself like your career is playing this game. Um, and
Love that.
Yeah. And then there's the other thing is that we want to be sure that so we're launching this million mint, but we want to make sure that our players have the ability to earn. So if you're getting a guy like Colt 45 coming on board, there's no reason why you shouldn't be earning you know some portion of when he purchases one of the next cards in the set. And we can do all that using blockchain, using hand cash. This is all completely doable, completely possible. We don't need to build a whole management tracking system to follow all this information, because that's just the innate capabilities of BSV and of blockchain itself, is to manage and keep track of all this. And the unique part about hand cash that differs from some of these other payment platforms like BTC, which we use for our Ordinals release, is that you know, if you are earning a percentage of your the people who you bring into the community, if you're earning a percentage of their purchases, um, you know, like maybe they're buying a few commons off of the secondary market, and those commons are, 3 to 5 cents, right? But they're buying them for this big tournament that's only commons, right? Well, you can still earn a percentage of that 5 cents, because we're able to fractionalize the payments to the point where we're going sub penny on our rewards for our people who are strongest advocates, who are teaching others about the game, taking the time to talk them through how to play the tournament events, what a match ready screen looks like, how to prepare, how to get a hand cash wallet, all of this stuff. That all takes your time. You're a busy professional. Why shouldn't you get paid for the amount of work that you're doing for the series, you know?
Hey, that rings my ears. I think that's great way to just spread awareness and get people to get more eyes on it by just kind of incentivizing people. People love the incentives.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think we need to work out how to do that, and maybe maybe we can have, some time to really plan out what does the strategy to use these referral codes and stuff like this, because for this project, for us, it's not about making money off of this million mint, right? This money is basically already spent and already committed to the tournament structure that we're organizing, the sales and development outreach plan for how to get into local game stores, etc. Right? We just want to grow the user base. We just want to have a thriving, community that is, people, players and gamers helping other players and gamers, right? Once we have all of that, the plan is eventually to take this to the point where, it's as big as Hearthstone, it's as big as Magic the Gathering, right? Once we get a steady user base of, 40,000 monthly gamers, 60,000 monthly gamers, etc., there's going to be time down the road, a year and a half, 2.5 years from now, where yes, we will be able to, do a partnership, etc., maybe make some money and things like that. But for right now, the strategy really can't be about how do we earn, $50,000 or $100,000 off of this next mint, right? We really need to be thinking, how do we earn 50,000 gamers? How do we earn 100,000 gamers? Um, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you have the? I'm curious to know. I think I heard something, but I wanted to ask you, um, the number of like unique holders
Yeah, so I don't have the
currently.
number directly offhand, but I think that there's been around 150,000 dollars worth of aftermarket sales of cards in the hand cash market, and then there was around 100,000 to $115,000 in the BTC market. So combined, you're looking at it's getting close to at the end of the month, maybe especially one more week. There's probably going to be around $300,000 worth of aftermarket sales, and um, the the game was launched in June roughly. So you have like June, July, August. So it's around 3 months worth of data that we're looking at. Around $100,000 of sales per month. Of course, some of that is front loaded to the beginning when it first launched. You're getting like a little bit more market activity because the mints are really what draw the people in to the market itself. Um, so I don't have the exact figures of how many unique holders there are across, especially across both chains, because for example, I have a BTC wallet and I have a BSV wallet, and I'm just one player, but I would like to an unassuming set of eyes, I would look like two different holders. But if I had to guess, I would say we definitely had 1,500 unique people that signed up for the initial airdrop, and then we probably have around 2,500 unique people that have purchased just on the BSV side. And if I had to guess, I would say it's probably around 3,000 on the BTC side. So with there being some degree of people who are on both, I would guess it's around 4,000 unique individual people who are part of the ecosystem.
Yeah, that kind of adds up. I mean, at least on Ordinals wallet, I'm looking at Coon Battles owners is like 4,500. So yeah, some of those are probably duplicated up front with BSV guys. But yeah, that's between 4 and 5,000 people, unique holders, as an estimate. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and then we had around $300,000 worth of aftermarket sales. So I don't.
Yeah, that's big too.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, I don't know if these numbers translate exactly, but if they would translate if they scaled up. But you could imagine that if you get $300,000 worth of aftermarket sales with 4,000 users, if you double that number of users, now you have 8,000 active users. Do you double the number of aftermarket sales? Are you looking at potentially, $500,000 worth of aftermarket sales moving towards 600,000? And does that start to plateau at a certain point? What if you look at the 300K coming from the 4,000 users, does that mean that the average user is spending roughly about $75 in an aftermarket purchase? And for everybody that's spending 150 on an aftermarket purchase, there's got to be one person that's spending zero, if otherwise it wouldn't average out to 75. So, the question really still is like, well, where is the bulk of these sales coming from? Is there just one whale that's walking around buying up all of these? Because some of these angels like are worth $5,000 a piece. So you buy one angel, and that like, there's got to be like at least 30 people that didn't buy a single card, to average out that one angel, that one person that bought the one angel. But, so it'd be
Yeah,
interesting,
and
yeah, to see.
that's a good point. I was gonna say too. I mean, I've done several over the counter deals with people, and I mean, I don't know how you guys are, scraping data, but I would guess that those are not factored into those totals since they're just one-off transfers.
Yeah, yeah, and that's true. Yeah, there's probably about like at least I would say, if I had to guess, I'd say it's probably about half as much of the sales, or maybe even equal to the amount of sales that are happening on the market itself are actually happening in the private channels. And that's how it should be, right? Like, if I own a card, I can put it on a website and you can buy it off of my website, right? But if I know you in person, why can't I just walk over to your house? Hey, Eric, want to buy this card off me? It's $20. Why do you have to buy it off of a website? Just because the website exists. And that's the thing that I think that these other games that we're eventually going to be able to hopefully replace, like a Magic or like a Hearthstone, they're not really seeing that, right? There's no way for me to take my asset on my Hearthstone platform and sell it to you, or maybe even give it to you like, hey, thanks for watching my dog last week. Here's a Inferno bot, as a thank you. What does the Hearthstone website need to know what you're doing with an asset that you own, right? And the nice part about how our system is built is that, those are your assets. Even should one day our company go out of business, let's say that we completely mismanage it, we're a bunch of knuckleheads, and our system collapses to ashes, right? Well, guess what? All you own, every single asset that you still owned yesterday, you still own it tomorrow, and you can still bring those assets to another platform that pops up and builds a template that allows you to interact with those assets and play them on an open battlefield, right? There's no reason why you have to be tied to us, if we don't know how to manage our own business properly. Um, and I think, like, if you go back to some of the problems that have happened with digital ownership and things like this, I don't know if you know Bruce Willis, from Die Hard, of course, but have you ever heard of like the complaint that he raised with Apple regarding like his music collection?
No, not familiar.
So yeah, he brought a lawsuit. He sued Apple because, of course, Bruce Willis has a ton of money, and it's no surprise that he wants to use that money to buy a very large music collection. And so who knows? Maybe he's spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on his music collection, but he bought it all through the Apple platform, and so he was interested in transferring those assets that he bought, to his kids when he passed away. Put it in its will. Oh, and you get my $100,000 music collection that I spent a lot of time cultivating. It's not to say that the kids want it because it's worth any money. What they would want it for is most likely the sentimental value. Yeah, my dad loves all these albums. There's certain albums that my dad loves. I would want to hang on to them, whether they were digital or physical. And Apple won't allow it. The license agreement of when he purchased it meant that purchase applied to him during the life of his you know being alive. And when he passes, those music files get absorbed back into the monolith that Apple is, right? And that's what they want. They want a future where you don't have the ability to have the true ownership of these items. You just basically rent what you get, and you rent it from the platform. But the platform at the end of the day really is the one that owns all of these assets. And it's a misguided approach, in my opinion. And one of the ways that we're looking to disrupt that is by launching these cards using blockchain and getting out of the way and saying, hey, if you have an OTC deal, if you want to trade this um privately, that's your business.
That's fascinating. Yeah, I've never heard that, but I mean, definitely the reason why I'm intrigued with this trading card game on the blockchain for all those very same reasons.
Yeah. Well, so I gotta want to take a moment to just check in here. And
Hey, Brett, I got to
yeah.
run. It's been a pleasure. Looking forward to the next
All
one.
right. Thank you, Eric. And thanks for joining me.
You got it, man.
All right. Have a good one. And I'll stay with you. I'll just really quick to do a quick tournament update here. We are taking a look at our $50 daily. This is a free to enter event. The winner does earn $50. And we are taking a look at the match room for Fukuchi and Haruki. They are speaking in Japanese, so unfortunately I don't have an update on how the game is going, but I do want to turn around and tell you thank you very much. Thank you for being a part of our community. Thanks for tuning in on your Friday to see how the event has been going, learning a little bit about Coon Battles. And to encourage you, if you're a new player, if you learned about this game today on the stream, reach out to us on the Discord, discord.gg/Coon Battles. Say hello to us. My name is Manifestable. I will be signing off here in just a moment. But if you're a newer player, you want to learn how to play the game, you haven't gotten a card yet, you're interested in doing so, opening a hand cache, getting yourself a card. I would love to walk you through how the game works, what the mechanics are, how to enter our free events, $50 daily events that are free to enter, and you can win a total of $50 for first place, or our weekend events that are $500, 300 to first, and 150 to second, and $50 to third place. We are looking to be bringing this game to your local game store. So if you are a person in the audience right now who has a relationship with a local game store, be that for your Magic cards, your Pokemon cards, your Yu-Gi-Oh, or your Flesh and Blood, or whether that's your board game store where you're buying your Settlers of Catan, your Carcassonne, or even your chess. We want to know where you buy your local games, and we want to make sure that we can give you some sort of reward for being able to introduce us to that store and to set up our merchandise, our product line within that store. So again, thank you all for being a part of this on your Friday. We unfortunately can't bring you the finals coverage just because we're still building the server integration that's going to allow for our spectator mode. We will have that ramped up very soon, so stay tuned for more live coverage. But until then, thank you for being a part of our growing game, Champions of Otherworldly Magic. My name is Brett, and have a wonderful day.